Hello everybody, welcome to this edition of Walk Drop.
Once again. Once again.
Today we're going to break down some of the components of the dish, Pángxiè Kōng Xīn Cài, which is this idea of crab and water spinach. So let's get into it. First we're going to break down the idea of Pángxiè, or crab, right? So crab is a salty and cool meat in Chinese medicine, coming from the water. It's a shelled animal, right? And so what it does is it enters the meat of crab, moves into the liver channel. It tends to cool down heat in the liver channel, in the body in general. It helps to invigorate the circulation of blood as associated particularly with the liver. So ligaments, you can think of ligaments and joints and areas like that. Crab is very good at moving blood and in those areas and throughout the body in general. In Chinese medicine, the liver is one of the places that stores blood. So this happens. So what happens is the crab helps to move blood that gets static, right? You can think of this blood that gets static, we call 血瘀 in Chinese, this idea of blood stasis. So it moves it from bruises and trauma all the way to just slower circulation, right? So it will invigorate the circulation. It also helps to drain something that we call dampness in Chinese medicine, or 湿气, right? This idea that you have this fluid stasis that gets from swelling or from poor metabolism, and you get swellings in the joints or swellings due to trauma, things like that, in the legs or whatever, and crab will help to move and drain that in the body. So that's really important to think about. Crab itself is also an interesting meat or food because it also stimulates the yuan qi of the body. So yuan qi is the original or source qi of the body. So it's the idea in Chinese medicine or herbal medicine we call jing, the essence. So you can think of it as bone marrow. You can think of it even as the stimulating of the genes in the cell to reproduce, this original essence, right? So this is why crab is so effective and used a lot at treating broken bones and traumas that have bone fractures or things that generally are very tough to heal, that take a while. Crab is used to stimulate the yuan qi, the source qi of the body, to repair these areas. Crab is also, being that it's a shelled animal, the shell of the animal contains a lot of minerals, right? So oftentimes you'll see that the minerals in the shell are very alkalizing, so they cool heat, right? We mentioned that it cools things. So crab is sometimes steamed or cooked, baked within the shell, and the meat absorbs the minerals, making the meat even more alkalizing. So if you are preparing this dish from scratch and not using canned crab, one of the ways to make the crab even more alkalizing to the body is to steam or bake the crab within the shell to allow for the meat to absorb the minerals in the shell to make it more cooling. Sometimes the shell of the crab and even the crab meat is baked until dried, and then it's crushed and powdered, and then it's used for things such as skin abscesses and heat to pull that heat out of the body into clear abscesses. It's also sometimes used in what we call 外科 or external medicine to treat broken bones. That is sometimes made into a poultice and it's put over the broken bone, and it'll help the minerals in the crab will help to cool the area, reduce inflammation. They'll help to, obviously, we said, stimulate the yuan qi, the jing in the bone, to reheal, right? It'll break up bruising that comes from a broken bone. It'll help to drain dampness, so it'll bring down the swelling in the area. So if you're making crab as a dish and you're using it as for an injury or a trauma, this would be one place where you can use that. And you can make that and you can consume that, such as in this dish, to help deal with maybe fractures or, pulled ligaments and things like that. So even though crab tends to cool the body and drain dampness, sometimes it can irritate the certain skin issues that somebody is having. It can bring out these rashes and things. That's because it stimulates the yuan qi and the wei qi in the surface to interact. So if someone is having skin issues such as eczema and whatnot, they may want to avoid crab for those things, because unlike an abscess where you're pulling a local issue of heat and inflammation and possibly infection out using the powdered crab, Eating crab itself may stimulate the movement internally of this heat from the stomach outwards and the yuanqi out, and it could cause an irritation. Now, baking crab tends to reduce the amount of skin reaction somebody has with crab. So baking it and powdering it and these things tend to kind of modulate that skin reaction and will reduce those things overall. An interesting thing is that crab is sometimes used in wine. It's decocted in wine, a male and a female freshwater crab, decocted in wine for about a half an hour, and then that wine with the minerals and the crab essence in it is then drank to treat traumas and broken bones. Normally when that's done, the person sleeps after they imbibe the wine. So normally they would do the wine in 3 doses a day, and then they would rest after they ingest the wine for that. Now, in this case, we're talking about this dish particularly. So the nice thing about this dish is that this dish is actually really good for the initial stages of a trauma, whether it be a fracture or inflammation in the musculoskeletal system or all these things. It's really, really good for that. And the reason why is because this dish has ginger, which is warming, helps to warm the stomach and produce fluids and to move fluids. And so it can reduce any sort of cold that's come into the joints or areas and cause tightness, in the sinew layer. But it also has scallion or spring onion. In this case, he used leek with spring onion. And this will invigorate and move yang qi to move fluids and move blood. So the crab combined with the ginger, combined with the scallion, and even the cooking wine, these things will move blood and disperse stasis, disperse swellings, and stop pain. So this is a great dish for somebody who is going through an immediate trauma. Something maybe they're getting over, maybe they fractured a bone in their leg or something like that, or their arm, and this might be something, the first night that they've had this trauma and things are all set, the bone's not out of place or anything. They might use this, you might eat this dish, and this would help to relieve that pain and help to speed the healing and help to reduce swelling and bruising overall. All right, let's talk now about Kōng Xīn Cài. So this water spinach, right? So the idea of Kōng Xīn means that the center of the spinach is hollow, or the center of this vegetable is hollow. Kōng Xīn, like empty heart, the idea of the center of it is hollow. So this is generally considered sweet, and it's slightly cooling or cold. It enters the channels of the liver again, just like the crab. It enters the heart channel, the large intestine channel, the small intestine channel. It has a tendency to clear heat. Particularly in the blood, it cools heat in the blood. So it's really good if you have heat in the blood or if you've got inflammation like we talked about with the crab. This matches up and it helps to strengthen that ability to clear heat. It also induces urination. So it helps to urinate out excess fluids or dampness from swelling or all these things, so it can help to assist the crab in bringing down swellings, right? It also assists the bowel in movement, so it stimulates the movement of the bowel. And this is really important in old injuries to clear blood, or in injuries of bruises where the bruise is sitting around. You clear damaged blood and things out through your bowels. This is the reason why sometimes after injuries you notice the stools can become more dark or black. This is a lot of the old hemoglobin and things in the blood leaving right out through the stools. And so this will help to clear out old blood. It'll help to clear out old blood from trauma. It'll also help to detoxify the body, right? Detoxifies the body from poisons, such as food poisoning, right? Or any sort of toxic heat that we call in Chinese medicine as toxic heat, this fire toxins that can build up in the body. It could be due to infection or various things. So this can help to clear out that heat in the body, in the digestive tract. So as I mentioned, this water spinach, or Kōng Xīn Cài, helps to move things out through the urination. One of the things it does is by disinhibiting urination or helping to urinate things out, you can help somebody who's having difficulty urinating due to, say, heat that could be obstructing the bladder or damp heat obstructing the bladder. It will help to promote this motion outwards that may be blocked otherwise. It also helps to treat constipation. Remember I said it promotes bowel movement. So people who are having constipation, water spinach is a very good thing that they can eat to help to move out stool and help to promote the idea of bowel movement. So this idea of detoxifying through the bowels is something that's very important when you think of things like food poisoning, certain insect bites and snake bites and things that they have to come out, through the bowels. They come out through the lower area. So this detoxifying nature of the, or this assisting of the detoxifying ability of the body from the water spinach is really, really important. A lot of times in these cases, the water spinach was either decocted, it could be eaten, but many times it could be decocted or made into a juice. And then that juice or decoction would be taken with a little bit of wine. And this would assist in the movement of blood and the clearing of these toxins through the bowels. Oftentimes too, the juice or the decoction could be spread over in a poultice over the area of the bite to help promote detoxification in the local area. So in this dish, what we have is we have the wine in the dish, we have the crab in the dish, we have the water spinach, and we even have the spring onion and ginger. So this is really good at promoting the movement of blood, the movement of the bowels, both urination and defecation, and the clearing of stasis in the body, blood stasis, dampness and things like that. So this is a really good dish for traumas, for kind of stasis that's sitting in the body for a long period of time. You start to get swellings in the body. This will promote the movement of that water outwards and the clearing of these things from the body. So try this dish out, guys. Tell us what you think. I think you'll really like it. And we'll see you next time on Walk Trot. Have a good day.
Once again.